The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is personally one of the best books ever written for my own life, but high praises, I guess. But I think the reason I say that is because it shines a light on a very overlooked aspect of our predominantly social reality, which is that we are a lot of the time consumed by our pain. In the book, he refers to it as our pain body. It's like a parasite that consumes us when we're triggered emotionally and then acts out on that emotion. So when that happens, we're not in control. So technically, it's not us. Even though we are acting out, playing that part, it's our pain body, it's our trauma that's built into us and stored within us that we're not conscious of, that gets triggered. And when that happens, the parasite takes over its host and plays out whatever emotion until that is extinguished, and then it lies dormant again until the next occurrence. But in the book, he illustrates it really, really well, and it just resonates. So I probably won't do it a lot of justice, but I want to recommend it just because I've read it like 4 or 5 times, and it teaches me, and if anything, it's a reminder and a meditation on the fact that it is unconscious, and the only way to overcome it, at least temporarily, is to become conscious of it, to become aware of it as often as you can, and to pay attention to your thoughts and your patterns, because it always starts with a thought. Emotion is preceded by thought, so your reactions to things are very important, and especially your impulse, your initial reaction, if you're not paying attention, is what spirals you into these pain body possessions, you could say. But he goes into the aspect of time and how the pain body can only exist within time. That is either worrying about the future or being, sad about the past or living in the past. And the pain body is an accumulation of past energy, essentially. And so as long as you're identifying with your past and not living in the present or being anxious of a future, you're not able to be conscious. So the only way that you can be conscious and try to prevent this from happening and being miserable, because the pain body is a misery loving, feeding entity, you want to try to be present as often as possible. And clearly that's not clearly that's not possible all the time, unless you're like some Ram Dass kind of dude. But the idea is to be ever attempting to be present and to remember as often as you can to be conscious and aware of what your thoughts are and how insidious it is that you're constantly like judging. There's a constant judging voice in your head, and if you don't cut it out and the judge is displeased, then that's how the pain body finds it's like opening the door for your trauma, essentially. So I don't know, it's an awesome book, and it really dives into like social dynamics and how within relationships and within, between other people, this is why in relationships a lot of times you can be dating someone, and after a few months of like, treading water, you start to see this other person come out, and a lot of times that's the mask that's been covering their pain in order to keep you and hopefully impress you. And then once they feel comfortable, they let loose and their pain comes out, and it's ugly a lot of times, and it's difficult to deal with, and nobody can heal that in other people. You have to do your best to manage it yourself before you can ever expect to to love someone else truly, or to be in a successful relationship, I suppose, whether that's friendship or family or a romantic relationship. But anyways, it's a beautiful book, and it's nice to even just read a page or two or a chapter every day, just to get that little reminder and that little sort of peace. The way he writes is very peaceful. It makes it really easy to get in that mindset and get in that zone of not worrying too much about other people and the pain and the problems of the world, and getting sucked into it and letting your misery take over. And even knowing that, even remembering that, it still is hard. So it's nice to have that to fall back to if you need it. So highly recommend it if you haven't already. Check it out, Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. That's it. If you're watching all the way to this 5-minute mark, thanks, I appreciate it. And I hope this was of some value to you. So thanks, I'll catch you on the next one.